when you meet like filmmakers or producers or whoever, they're like being really nice to you because they don't want you to fuck up, but like they're ready to rip your hair out if you fuck up. So you're just like, it's just not like they don't necessarily trust that you know what you're doing. And I mean, I've had plenty of instances where literally like someone will be like, "Are you sure you know how to do this?" And I'm just like,
I'm looking at the camera.
even like, you know, in the last few years. Like, and I thought, you know, now I have gray hair. They're finally going to stop being like, "Do you know how to do your job?" But like, nope. Doesn't matter.
You don't just double down and go, "No, it's my first day," and then hit like
no, my favorite thing now is like, you know, like,
what's that?
What's it called? Flim?
Someone like asked me recently, like in the last few years, like, how long did it take you to learn how to do this? Which was like an event that I had run, and like they implied like it was I think it was might have been 70. I don't remember. And the implication was that I had just learned this, and I was like 25 years because it was like a few years ago, and I was like 25 years, you know, like, dude, what do you think? Do you see this?
All from projection.
Yeah, exactly.
The booth did this.
Exactly. You people did this.
The life raft.
Wait, who's saying that? The filmmakers? The
No,
directors?
it's just like, I don't remember. That was like an event where I don't remember what the movie was now, but I think it was at the Somerville, and I was running something, and then I came downstairs and I was with the other projectionists, and someone he knew asked me that question, and I was just like, dude, why do you think I just learned how to do something? You know, like, because I have tits? Is that why? Like, if I was like a fat dude, you wouldn't ask me how long it took me to learn this. You'd just assume I was born fucking doing it, you know?
That's true. They have tits too.
Manly tits.
Well said. Well said.
I've seen a few.
They're manly. That's the difference. This is like a running theme whenever women are on this podcast.
Oh my God.
It comes up in like the first 5 minutes.
I remember one time in the DR, I was at the Cinematheque, and I was getting ready for a screening, and I had some questions for the filmmaker, and it's the DR. So like no one's around. It's like DR time. It's like it's showtime, but no one's around. It was just like total chaos all the time. And I'd been asking like the house staff, like, when the filmmaker arrives, I just have some questions about the presentation, like probably just like some projection settings or aspect ratio questions, you know, really basic stuff. No one was coming, and I was like, whatever, I'm just going to show it the way I think they want it shown because no one's really communicating with me, you know. And then suddenly these people walk into the booth, and they walk right past me. They go, because there was like another sort of back room in that booth. They go in there, they're looking around. I don't know who anybody is. I'm not from there. And I was like, oh, that must be someone from the building looking for something. I don't know.
HVAC.
And then they come up to me and they're like, "We're looking for the projectionist." And I was like,
boy.
"That's me." You know? And I was like, dude, what the fuck?
I right here.
Yeah. Do I need to like strap my tits down or something?
I'll just get a shirt that says "It's me."
It's me. I'm the one. And then you run the risk of them giving you that look like, oh, it's you. And then you're like, oh, I know what you're thinking. Like, does she know what she's doing?
It's an endless cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aside from that frustration of dealing with that bullshit,
You can go down that avenue for a while if you want.
I'm sure, yeah. I'm curious about, like, you know, because you probably want to, like you said, you want to know the settings for projecting a film. You want to know what the aspect ratios are. Like, what are the stakes like when you're projecting for like a festival versus like, you know, at the Somerville Theater? Are the stakes higher at a festival because more people are stressed out?
Totally. Like a lot of these screenings, they might only, like a movie might only show once or twice. I mean, they're not all the Sundance Film Festival where, some smaller festivals don't have the same stakes, but filmmakers come, they're nervous. They're, a lot of times people just throw everything into their movie, and you have to make a lot of decisions sometimes on the fly. The reason we have an inspection department is because we're sort of QCing all of the content and making sure like there's no red flags that are going to show up at showtime, so that, because it's not always the same person inspecting it that's projecting it. So you're looking out for those red flags before it gets to the projection booth, so the projectionist isn't like, oh shit, But sometimes smaller festivals, like really small festivals, might not have that robust a crew, and so you get thrown things. Like one time I was at the Providence Film Festival and it was the middle of the summer and this projection booth had no air conditioning. This is a theme, okay? And I had, the windows were like bay windows. It wasn't like a little portal window. So I had to keep the lights off normally, but I couldn't open this window during daylight hours because it would be too bright for the projection. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm like in there all day, sweating bullets. And I get this one screening where, this is a long time ago because the feature was 16 millimeter, which hasn't happened in a long time.
Yeah.
The feature was 16 and the aspect ratio for that is like 1:37, and which is like a little bit more square. But there was a 35 millimeter short, which was like 185, which is more rectangular, like closer to 16:9. And the masking in that auditorium is not just manual, like most masking is like a rope and pulley kind of system. Like it's either motorized where in the booth you hit a button and it goes, or you go down there and you have to do the little rope and pulley thing. And this one was like this insane scaffolded like black curtain on these fat bases, and it was just like me, And so the short is like wider and shorter, and the feature is more square. Forget that it's 16 or 35. Just I have to deal with an aspect ratio change, and I'm alone. So I made this executive decision. I'm going to mask for the feature because you will be sitting there watching that the longest.
Yeah.
And that's like square. And I'm going to show the short, like I'm going to tilt the projector down so that it's like curtained nice on three sides, but the top will just be fuzzy. But the whole image is there.
Yeah.
Like I'm not cropping the movie.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I tried finding the director of the short film to tell him like, hey, FYI, you're going to see this on the screen and you're going to think that somehow I cropped your movie, but I didn't crop it. Like, it's just a fuzzy line at the top instead of like a
sharp
line.
edge. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find him. And I think I found his wife and I told his wife and then it was showtime.
She definitely relayed that message.
She was like, yeah.
And I was
She was
like,
like,
Do you
sure,
know
whatever.
what she was doing though?
And so I started running this, the short is first, right? And so I start running the short film. This director comes in the booth.
No.
Damn.
What is it with these people just busting into the booth?
Flipping out, like screaming at me.
Did you guys
like,
not have locks on the doors?
Yeah, like what the hell?
well, it was hot in there. I had doors open.
Mike.
It might have been dusk, so I don't even know if the window was open yet.
Yeah.
I'm sweating bullets. I'm in a bad mood. I'm sweating. Like, and like this guy comes in, like, you're fucking up my movie. Do you know how much money I put into that? And he's like having an aneurysm, and he's like, and I was like, dude, I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. It's just, and he's like, pull the gate out. I'm like, I can't pull the gate out. The film's running through it. That would ruin your film. I can't pull the gate out. You don't know what you're saying. Like,
What is that? What does he think that means? What does that mean?
it doesn't mean anything good. Like, when a movie's running through the projector, you
Yeah.
know, right?
Yeah, that's some shit you do at Mass Art, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
and I was just like, no, I can't
how
pull it out. So I pulled like the aperture plate out because I was like, is that what you mean? Like I wanted to show, if I pulled the aperture plate out, it would have shown him that I was not cropping anything. So like I pulled it out. So the audience is now seeing this like shit going on screen. And I'm like, see? And he was just like, oh, you're not. And I like put the plate back in because, you know, I got to put it back for the people out there
Yeah.
to prioritize.
Yeah.
And then he's just like yelling at me. And I was like, I just don't know what came over me in that moment. I was just like, do you want to fucking hit me? Just fucking hit me. Just fucking hit me if that's what you want to do. Because he was like getting closer and closer to me. And I could smell the booze on him. Like he clearly had been like nervous drinking all afternoon. And I was like, just fucking hit me. And like that, like,
Oh my God.
like made him go like,
And he threw up in his mouth.
and he was just like, he like
up in the
said
gate.
something like called me a bitch or something, and then like stormed out of the room.
That made him feel better.
Yeah, and I'm all like amped up now. I have to do a real
just
change to
fucking
the
punch
16
somebody.
millimeter. This all happened in a 10-minute movie, and now I have
10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know how much money you
Meanwhile,
poured?
it ends and the audience is like,
Yeah, that is like
You're like, what was
I
that?
know.
what the fuck happened in the middle there?
Yeah.
something about
And I'm
mango
sure
trees.
people could hear it. I mean, it was just this like bay window, like, and I was, and then I'm all like,
they totally must have heard it.
This part performance art, part.
Oh my God, this is what mass art prepared you for.
I
This
guess.
is
And I was like all like,
Jesus
and my
Christ.
friend Rich came in because he was handling the other fucked up thing about that booth was I couldn't even control the volume in the booth, like, because it wasn't really meant to be a projection booth, like, or maybe it was, I don't know. This was like 20 something years ago. My friend Rich was in the auditorium and he saw the guy coming down the stairs like all like crazy. And so he came in to check on me and I was just like, I was like, I gotta change to the 16 millimeter now. Can you just check the sound for me? You know?
Jesus, who knew that?
And it ran fine. The show was fine. Everything was
Of course
fine.
it was.
Like, you
were
know.
in charge.
And like when the sun came down, I opened the window and like almost threw myself in the Providence River. I was like, oh my God, what the fuck? Why am I in a booth?